Okay, Lord. I'm now going to my text. It's going to be 10 seconds, please. I've been fighting with God for a week about whether I should say everything He wants me to say. If you're really prophetic, you know some words. You'd be like, please. I want to talk to those of you. Here we go. Y'all got to have my back, baby. I need you. Who got home row key happy. And Tasha Cobbs recorded with Nicki Minaj. Nicki got less demons than more of your first ladies. Nicki got less demons than more of your armor bearers. She talking multiple voices. But how the heck do you expect somebody who's controlling the whole culture to listen to somebody who can't even build a car? You have got to repent in the name of Jesus Christ. The anointing for invasion and intrusion and influence is coming in this place. You bash that girl and she's overbooked and you're overlooked. Nobody listening to you. Only thing you can get in your land is a Facebook page. You want to run your cow and tail and criticize somebody who got more money than everybody you know, and they are changing a culture. Until that. So now let's go. Because somebody feel all in all. Feel all in all. Bible says in the latter part of Ephesians 1, I want the church to feel all in all. That means that there is nothing on earth that should not be affected by the church. I don't care if you don't like it. There is no spot on this on earth that should not be influenced by the earth.
I searched all over, couldn't find that clip there. I looked high and low, I still couldn't find that sound clip. But then I found it. There's still nobody greater than you. Yeah, man. I did a search. Facebook, YouTube, the Word Network, YouTube, and their page. Just trying to find that clip because I wanted to make sure that my response to Tasha Cobb's post of the soundbite on her Instagram was correct, which is admirable for anybody to do. You want to make sure that you're coming out of the right context with any response. And I'm going to look at the rest of the message because I actually like listening to Matthew Stevenson. My wife really likes listening to him, and I do too. So, I'm sorry for the shaking. I'm in my car. I'm on my way home, and I just got to get what I got to get done as far as this video is concerned while it's fresh. So, I looked at the video because I got to come out of right context. I strongly felt that I was coming out of the right context when I did my first response, and I stick by that decision wholeheartedly. And I believe that Apostle Matthew Stevenson wouldn't really have anything to say about what I have said and what I'm going to say because it falls in line with Scripture. What I'm going to talk about is that for anybody that's coming to Tasha Cobb's defense, Apostle Matthew Stevenson included, and everybody else, what we have to really understand is that in the church and in other situations, a lot of times we deal with two camps and two categories of people. You can't lump everybody that has something to say about Tasha Cobbs into one negative labeled box. You can't do that. Because there are people that have something to say about what she did that have very valid arguments. And then there are people that just bash Tasha Cobbs for simply collaborating with Nicki Minaj, which is wrong. These people do this with other people who are of great influence and have a great platform. Hence, Lecrae. They criticize him. The same people who bashed Tasha Cobbs for having a collaboration with Nicki Minaj also bash Lecrae for collaborating with the likes of Ty Dolla $ign or having a secular producer, Metro Boomin, in his music. And they'll continue to. And I want to use these two examples of these two people to highlight the two groups or the two camps of people. We're going to highlight the negative camp first, and then we're going to highlight the positive camp. And we're going to talk about serious issues connected to both of them. So, the first camp of people, the negative Nancys. Oh, I don't think Lecrae should be collaborating with Ty Dolla $ign because he's in the world. And Lecrae, is he a Christian rapper or is he sold his soul? Tasha Cobb. Oh, I don't think Tasha Cobb should collaborate with Nicki Minaj. That's not even cool. Okay. I agree with Apostle Matthew Stevenson. The church should feel all in all. We should. There should be no area that is not affected in life by the church. No area whatsoever, because God wants to rule and reign in the earth, period. Christian plumbers, Christian music artists, we should feel all in all, and we should affect every sector of this secular world with Christian influence. So to the negative Nancys out in the world, you just can't see a collaboration between a Tasha Cobbs and a Nicki Minaj or a Ty Dolla $ign and a Lecrae and be like, you know, they're sinful, they sold their soul. It's not that black and white. It's not that simple. It's really not. If that's the case, then you shouldn't buy gas from gas stations with people who don't believe in your God. You shouldn't go other places to do other things and watch certain movies because they don't believe in your God and the movies aren't that God glorifying. So stop being hypocrites, first of all. Secondly, I mean, there's not much to say about the negative Nancys. Y'all are shallow. Y'all are really shallow and y'all need to quit. Y'all are superficial. Y'all are not spiritual at all. Neither are you discerning at all. And you just cast your rocks and you throw stones. You throw stones carelessly. And you do damage for no reason at all. So that's that on the negative Nancys. Dig a little bit deeper, get saved for real, get spiritual for real, and then maybe somebody will want to listen to what you have to say. I have a real problem with you negative Nancys because you make a bad name for people like me who are of the other camp, who are concerned, especially, namely, with what Tasha Cobbs did with Nicki Minaj. And let me get into the difference of that. Lecrae has collaborated with not only Ty Dolla $ign, but he has done other collaborations with other people. He's never made any assertions about their faith. He's always stayed true to his faith and stayed true to his method, which is going out into the world to feel all in all. He has messages on Facebook, messages on YouTube about his methodology, which is quite close, is in fact the same as Apostle Matthew Stevenson's. They would get along great, and I believe that they agree on all the things. And I believe that Tasha does too. But Lecrae has never made an assertion about a person's faith that he has collaborated with. He doesn't go out there and do some outlandish collaboration with just anybody. He has a thought process behind it, but he has said that there is no person that's off limits. It's just got to make sense, and then it'll happen. On the other hand, Tasha Cobbs, when this whole thing started, it's almost as if she was kind of defending herself for having the collaboration with Nicki Minaj and saying things that are really unreasonable. She posted on Instagram about how the Saints reacted when they found out that she was collaborating with Nicki Minaj. And I know that that was aimed at the Negative Nancys, who have made a bad name for everybody that's concerned about this collaboration. I've already spoken my mind about the Negative Nancys that have made a bad name, so I will not go into that again. But in a hashtag, Tasha Cobb put, "She knows Jesus better than some of y'all do." And I use that as a reference point to just go in. Basically, my whole argument is this. If Nicki Minaj knows Jesus Christ better than most Christians do, then we should see some fruit. Not asking for her to be perfect, but we should see the fruit. There should be some kind of process, not a song where you're just kind of mooching, to be honest, off of the fan base and calling it evangelism. True evangelism would be if we saw the fruit, even just a little bit, of a changed life in Nicki Minaj, enough that can actually spark change in other people's lives of her fan base as well. She may be a Christian, but she is a baby Christian, and there's not a lot of fruit to be seen. Why couldn't Nicki just held off on the collab? There's not a problem. See, the people in the other camp, they don't have a problem with you being friends. I won't say with collabing. The people in the other camp, I will speak for, because I'm of that other camp and I will represent them in this video. The people of the other camp don't have a problem with you having a friendship, talking, being in the same space, going to the same award shows as Nicki Minaj. We don't have a problem with that at all. But what we do have a problem with is when a person who doesn't appear to be repentant or in a process of changing to represent the faith that the faithful proclaim is heralded as a Christian or wants to claim Christianity for whatever reason. We all know that when you come to Christianity, there's a standard that we have to meet. And no, we're not perfect. And no, we won't be perfect until the day of Jesus Christ. But what processes are in place for us to continue to be perfected? What processes are we under? It's a serious and honest question that, in this case with Nicki Minaj, really needs to be answered, especially if a person like Tasha is gonna present her to be a Christian that apparently knows Jesus better than most Christians. What processes are you under? What kind of change is going on in your life? How come when I'm Getting Ready, the single that you featured on, was released, did you also release Rake It Up, which that's not even the name of the song? It's just a censored name. You release Rake It Up, which is a vulgar song, along with another vulgar song, along with a gospel song, I'm Getting Ready. It doesn't show growth. It doesn't show fruit. It really calls into question and into scrutiny Christianity, and really it calls into scrutiny Tasha Cobbs. And so on the one hand, the Negative Nancys, what they say really doesn't matter. But on the other hand, for the responsible Christian camp that is bringing the word and bringing a correct argument, there is a concern that you do have to look at. You seriously do have to look at. Us of the other camp would have much rather you did what Lecrae did. He has said, and you can look this up on many of his interviews, that I've had many friendships, and I have many friendships and relationships with people that are in the secular world, but they're already famous enough as it is, So what I'm doing is I'm kind of like, I'm a person that they confide in. And so even if they were to tell me certain things, none of y'all would know because they're already public enough as it is. So why would I uncover them more about their faith? So there are conversations being had behind the scenes and after the shows and behind the curtains and after the concerts. There are conversations being had that he has simply chosen not to broadcast or brag on because he wants to keep the relationship confidential. I think that's what Tasha Cobbs should have did in this instance. I do not think that Nicki Minaj was ready for a collaboration. Not at all. And I do not think that Nicki Minaj, or I don't think that Tasha Cobbs should have succumbed to the, in all honesty, pressure to have Tasha Cobbs, or I'm getting the names mixed up. I don't think that Tasha Cobbs should have really succumbed to the pressure of having this big secular artist, Nicki Minaj, tweet in front of a world audience of 1 million people, or however many Tasha said. Tasha said that Nicki Minaj tweeted, and it was a viewable tweet to all of her fans, that she wanted to put a 16 bars on the song. And for that reason, she stated it many times, even recently on Good Morning America. For that reason, she allowed Nicki Minaj to feature on her album. It just wasn't a good look. It wasn't a good look at all. She should have said, listen, I know you want to put a 16 on my song, but let's develop a relationship together. I know you want to proclaim Christ, but there's some things that we seriously have to look at, and it's not judging you or anything, but let me get to know you more. I'm not, first and foremost, I'm about your soul, and I'm about protecting you. Because really, in all actuality, what Tasha has done is put her someplace to where both her and Nicki are under scrutiny. Who hasn't been bothered by the statement, "Oh, I thought you was a Christian"? That statement can be now used against Nicki Minaj in such a way to where she's under greater scrutiny and greater judgment. It just wasn't smart. I think that Tasha Cobbs really should have took the route that Lecrae goes, as far as keeping things confidential and keeping friendships confidential between people. And even if you seriously still wanted to do a collaboration with Nicki Minaj, even if Tasha still wanted to do so, do a collaboration like Lecrae does. If Lecrae does a collaboration with somebody, they're not talking about how righteous they are. They might not even be a believer or be all the way there. But like Lecrae said, he's a hip-hop artist. So yes, he separates his message sometimes from his faith. He's a Christian, but he's going to do songs that are not explicitly Christian. Tasha Cobbs is a worship artist that had a secular female rapper on her worship album. And then you have people like John Gray. Well, who can't worship God? When you're in worship, when you're truly in worship, God reveals yourself to you. You don't just come up to God in worship to feel better about yourself. That's a whole nother story. But even if Tasha Cobbs and Nicki Minaj did collab, they could have talked about how beautiful they are. Something not connected to worship, which, for all intents and purposes, we know that Nicki Minaj is not. You can't worship and do the things that you do and post the things that you post at the same time. I mean, you can. Even Christians in the church do it, but should you? That's another thing. John Gray. Oh, what about the pastor who goes home and drinks himself to sleep after preaching the word? What about this person? What about this person? Oh, so we're going to highlight the failures of the people that are already in the church to make it okay for the world to feel comfortable in their sin, to continue in their sin, and allow them to be under this illusion that they can still be saved and do the things that they want. That's what a collaboration between Tasha Cobb and Nicki Minaj presents. And that's what it doesn't present in the case with Ty Dolla $ign and Lecrae. Now, I will say this. Lecrae collaborating with Ty Dolla $ign and whoever else, and Nicki Minaj and Tasha Cobb collaborating, it does expose the listeners of the music to both camps of music. It exposes the listeners of Tasha Cobb to Nicki Minaj and the listeners of Nicki Minaj to Tasha Cobb's. It exposes Ty Dolla $ign's fans with Lecrae and Lecrae's fans with Ty Dolla $ign and whoever else. It does. That's just what's going to happen naturally. But I get that argument. I really and seriously do. But I also believe that God is more powerful than that fear. You don't not collab because of what may happen. You don't base your decisions off of fear. I think that's my last point. This video is longer than I anticipated, and I still have to put the video in the beginning that you guys will see by now. But yeah, 20 minutes. That's my heart on this whole thing. All out there. I'm still waiting for a response from Tasha Cobb's. I really hope to stir up discussion. This is a really good topic, and I love piggybacking and staying on topics like these for so long, because this is a critical subject that really, if we really sat down and thought critically about it, we could really get somewhere. We could really get somewhere. And so we're trying to feel all in all, and we're trying to feel all in all with right perspective and balanced. That's what we're trying to do.